Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to OSBA TV. Game 1 of 2 tonight. Alongside Joe D'Agostino, Anthony Gaio on hand. And we got Ridley and TRC. We're live from the Rise Center in Brantford, Ontario. And tonight, it's pretty apparent. Ridley shorthanded tonight without Alex Root, now without Dylan Kalembe. They're shorthanded and they come in as the underdog. Joe, how can they overcome this TRC team?
Well, what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to play team basketball. It's going to be a collective effort if they want to win this game and play hard. And at 4-6, with the season continuing to progress and we're getting closer to the end, every win is even more important than it was before. So it's going to be close. They beat TRC earlier this season. We'll see if they can get it done tonight.
Turnover there. Sorry, they're going to call it. TRC ball still. Like that time, McMahon got a hand on it. Grum back to inbound. John looking to go to work early here. Can't get it to go off glass. But there's Volak on the offensive board, putting in the first basket of the game for TRC.
It's too easy for TRC. You got to get a ball, especially taking. You can't be staring at the ball looking for the rebound. You have to stay with your assignment and make sure that you get the defensive rebound and you can push it into the fast break.
And a great matchup to watch tonight, Joe. Dawson John versus Johnny Avgusti. Two of the top scorers in the OSBA. Avgusti coming in at 16.5 points per game as he finds McMahon inside. Great pass that time. And of course, Dawson John leading this TRC team with about 19 points per game.
And for Avgusti, he's a terrific scorer, I should say, but he's going to have to do more than that tonight, and we saw that on that pass.
John going to head to the line here for the first time tonight. John on the year, 19 points per game like we mentioned, 78% shooter from the line. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Just figuring out the mics here. Getting back to the game, 5-4 for Ridley. John going inside with a strong drive, able to get it to go over McMahon's outstretched hands. Simon Bailey to take it up. He's going to have to take on more minutes this season, coming off the bench earlier in the year. But, of course, like we mentioned, the loss of Alex Rudin, Kalembe. Bailey now going to reset up top, 10 seconds on the shot clock. Bailey... We're going to call a foul on the floor. I believe Jefferson Monegro is going to pick that one up. Inbound now, Bailey. Avgusti. Heath nearly throws it away. Shot clock violation. Great defensive possession that time from TRC. Suffocating defense on the perimeter.
It was a great defensive possession, but for Ridley, they have to be much more aware of the shot clock, especially when you get the inbounds of 12 seconds. The fact that they didn't get a shot clock, that's a shot off. That's unacceptable. They have to be better on the offensive side.
Monegro finds John. John trying to work inside, using his muscle, follows up his own shot and gets it to go. Bailey finds Heath. Avgusti nearly loses it. John suffocating defense again. They got to get a shot off here. 5 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Heath inside, strong move, gets it to go off glass.
Great possession there for Ridley, using the pick and roll. That worked on that first possession with Avgusti when he made that nice pass. They need to work on that pick and roll, get some stuff working inside. That'll open up the perimeter later on in this game.
Nearly stolen that time. John regains it to Grumback. Monegro, they got to get a shot off. Monegro, floater. She's going to draw the foul that time and head to the line for 2.
And right now, if you're Ridley, you have to be happy with how this game has gone so far. You've had some sloppy possessions on the offensive and defensive side of the game, but it's only one possession game right now, 8-7. I know that they could be playing better basketball right now, but the fact that you haven't let them pull away early is a good sign for them.
Monegro good on the first. Of course, Ridley coming off a victory against Excel Hoops back in Niagara on the 10th. They went into the break, though, losing 2 in a row to Lincoln Prep on a home-and-home. So look for them to turn around their season, hopefully. They are shorthanded, but, of course, Terry Upshaw, one of the best and proven coaches in the OSBA. Drive this time, cut off of Gusti for 3. Short. McMahon with the offensive board. Bailey with a healthy look. Off the mark that time, and John's going to race up for TRC. Bounce pass, cut off by McMahon. Back comes the Tigers. Off the mark that time, and Johnny V comes down with the rebound. Monegro going to slow things down, get into their half-court offense now. Not a lot of movement here. They want Johnny V in the post against Heath. Vrolak spinning off. Good defensive possession that time and forces Johnny V to the travel.
That was a good possession by Ridley. And one thing that you mentioned with the injuries that they're dealing with, one thing that also they have to work on is the fact that these are new lineups that they're playing with. It's not just the fact that they're playing with maybe guys who are really talented who have to sit out now. It's the fact that you almost have to learn to play with different people with maybe more minutes.
Heath up top. Dawson John getting in the passing lane that time. And if Gusti will take it out of bounds. Bailey, Jeremy Kaye screaming at the ref for a moving screen. No call, they got to get it off. Bailey for 3. Well off the mark that time, and Heath comes down with the rebound. McMahon for 3. No good that time, and Ridley has not been stroking it so far here in the first quarter.
Yeah, they've had a couple really good looks beyond the arc, and they just haven't hit them, and you're going to have to make those shots if you want to win this game.
John again, but Ridley's doing a good job on Dawson John. He is just forcing himself inside.
And you can tell that that's one of their game plans right now for TRC. They're really attacking the paint in this game.
Little miscommunication by Ridley that time. Got lucky, Monegro tipped it out. We're going to see Victor Radikash coming for the first time. Sullivan Gay going to take a seat here. Radikash, of course, former Thornley Thunder. Got all the way to the finals last year, ultimately losing to TRC. Bailey inside to Heath, looking to go to work on Radikash. Too strong that time on the hook. Monegro pushing. Radikash in the high post. Screen coming, pick and roll. Good defensive play that time by McMahon. Vrolak tried to extend his range that time, too short. Bailey. Heath calling for it in the post. Good job by Vrolak. A lot of contact down low. And they're going to call it on Vrolak. You're going to see Jeremy Kaye go to his bench here. Steven Diaz and Manjabu and BK going to check in. Marco Tullio just checking into the game now. Getting inbound for Ridley. Cortez Afun as well in for the Tigers. Bailey. Strong drive by Simon. Gets it to go off glass. Well done that time.
And that's exactly what Ridley needs to do to get back in this game. They need to attack the paint. Those outside shots, they've been struggling with it all season long. If they attack the paint, they'll have a chance.
And BK can't get it to go that time, and they're going to call a push, and they're going to stay right here at Ridley's end.
And that's one thing that's interesting between these two teams. I know almost everyone likes to shoot the three now this day, but both of these teams, they've lived by scoring in the paint this entire season. And one thing that could be a struggle for both of them is to get away from that.
Bailey to take it up now for the Tigers. An interesting thing about Ridley is see a lot of contact there, no call, and TRC comes back the other way. The interesting thing about Ridley is they really win their games on defense. They haven't got over 90 points yet this year. And BK over to Radikash. BK looking to go inside. Nice find to Johnny V in the corner. Well off the mark that time. Ridley taking their time up court. With Gusti, has a lot of space here. Decides to take the shot inside the line. Too strong, and 7 minutes in this game, and that was Johnny's first shot. A little surprising.
It is surprising because you know that especially with some of those star players out for Ridley, he's going to have to step up his game, not just with assists and steals and maybe getting extra rebounds, but he also still has to score a ton for Ridley to really have a chance throughout this game, and that's his first shot. Maybe he's thinking a little too much to pass, but as this game continues, I expect him to take as much shots as he possibly can.
Looks like Jeremy Kaye is going to take a timeout here. And we'll be right back. You're watching OSBA TV. Welcome back. 3:07 remaining in the first quarter, 12-9, a low-scoring game, but almost what you kind of expected in this game between these two teams.
This is definitely the pace that both teams want to play going into this game.
Diaz, step back, creates a lot of space that time, everything but the finish. Bailey to bring it up. Simon Bailey's really taken duties over this point guard position since Alex Root has gone down. Really trying to will this Ridley team into the playoffs this year. McMahon. Good look that time, too short, and James comes down with the rebound. Met with the trap in the backcourt. Able to escape. And BK looking to go baseline. Good cutoff that time. Radikash, a wide open three. No good, and both teams have gone cold here. Diaz, strong drive, and he ends it, and the foul.
And that finally ends that cold streak for both teams. Both teams were getting incredible looks on both sides. They just couldn't hit it. That might be the momentum swing that TRC needs.
Gusti comes down with the board on the missed free throw that time by Diaz. Marco Tullio to Afun. Here's Bailey. Shot clock winding down again. Gucci's got to let it go. Moving screen that time. Called on a Foon.
And for TRC, they were screaming for that call earlier in the game. They finally got it on that possession.
You see Simon Bailey come out of the game for the first time now. Radikash, high screen. Diaz finds him BK, and BK slashing once again. Good find inside for the slam.
That's a couple straight possessions now for TRC. Easy looks in the paint, 1-and-1, one easy dunk. They're starting to pull away in this first quarter.
That was Luke Terrion. Buffoon. James picking up the assignment here. Marco Tullio tried to bounce it inside. Turned over again, and TRC streaking. They're going to call a foul on McMahon. In hindsight, it's kind of a smart foul here. Takes away an easy bucket for TRC.
And if you're Ridley, you're playing well defensively, but you need to figure something out on the offensive end because it's been a while now since they've had a good possession where they finish, because they've had good looks. They just haven't been able to finish on a ton of their shots.
I was just saying it might have been a smart foul, but I didn't realize that they're already in the bonus, so perhaps 2 free points coming here anyways for Steven Diaz and TRC. Good on the first. Diaz on the air. Doesn't get to the line too much, but shoots only about 40%. It's good floor general off the bench when Jefferson Monegro takes a seat. Really holds this second unit together. Under 90 seconds now to go in the first. Heath catches a long pass. Keanu going in strong. And he draws a foul, but that looks, they're going to call it on the floor, but I don't know what you saw there, Joe, but it looked like he was in the act of shooting.
It looked like he was in the act of shooting, but I do like TRC's aggressiveness there. Even though they're up by 9 right now, the fact that they went with that full court press, try to trap, try to continue to build on this lead, I really do like that aggressiveness, even though it led to a foul.
And Dolu Johnson, number 0 in the game for Ridley, of Goosey spinning off. Fancy move that time. Can't get it to go. And BK now coming in strong. Passes it off last minute. Diaz just keeps it in. Finds Radikash in the corner. Radikash finally gets it to go for 3. I think that was the first 3-pointer made all night, I should say.
Both these teams struggle behind the line, and I think it's worth it sometimes to kind of take that risk, give them that open look, but eventually it's going to bite you.
In BK, here comes showtime. When Jabu BK throws it down with one hand, that's going to force Terry Upshaw to take a timeout. 45.5 seconds remaining. We're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be back in just a moment for the end of the first quarter. .5 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Chance at a 2-for-1 here for Ridley, but full court press being applied here by TRC. Interesting move by Jeremy Kaye. Dolu Johnson passes it off to Bailey. Once again, suffocating defense here by TRC. Trap coming, turned over again. James fighting for it, and they're going to call a kickball on Ridley.
And I think that full court press and this aggressive defense, it's smart for TRC because Ridley hasn't proven yet in this game that they can win those individual one-on-one matchups. So even though they're being aggressive, the risk isn't too high right now because Ridley hasn't capitalized in this game.
Miscommunication here by the ref and the players. 29 seconds remaining now. Diaz to take it up for the Wolfpack. And BK to James up top. Back to Mbike. Down low to Radikash. Radikash spins off his man. Majabu finds Diaz up top. Good defensive possession by Ridley. Could they finish it off? Radikash again from the outside, no good. 5 seconds. And thrown way out of bounds by Bailey that time. There should be a few seconds left on the clock here before the end of the quarter. But overall, not being able to break 10 so far in this first quarter, it's got to be a little bit demoralizing here for the Tigers.
And even in that situation right there with 5 seconds left, the awareness to not push it quickly down, you can tell Ridley's maybe a little flustered, a little shaken right now. They need to figure it out going into that second quarter.
And Terry Upshaw is already very animated here with 1 second remaining in the first quarter. James, got to let it fly. Hits the top of the gym here. That's the end of the first quarter, 23-9. Let's see if Ridley can get back into this game in the second quarter. Welcome back. Second quarter action alongside Joe D'Agostino, Anthony Gaio on hand. You're watching OSBA TV, and the first quarter is really dominated by TRC, but not at the start. It looked like this game was going to be an even matchup, but then they made adjustments. But Ridley here on the steal. BK with the big block, pinned it against the backboard, but they're going to call goaltending on that.
I don't know about that one. That looked like a clean block to me.
Oh, they're going to call the foul. 2 shots here, not goaltending.
I'll say this, the foul at least seems a little bit more forgivable than the goaltending because it definitely didn't look like goaltending, but maybe it did get a little bit of contact. But you could hear the ball
smack against the... Terry Upshaw, he's pleading for goaltending here and the foul.
That's a great start for Ridley, though, in the second quarter. An immediate steal, getting to the free throw line. That was literally exactly what they needed to do. Build some momentum here, makes the first free throw, and hey, a good start is a good start, and they just have to continue to press forward.
So they just call it a common foul here, no goaltending added on. And he goes 1 of 2 at the line that time. Diaz still on the floor here for TRC. The second unit still on the floor for TRC. Therion down low. Diaz has some space, step back, 3-point shot. Boy, when he shoots the ball, I remember last week watching him at Orangeville, you can just tell when he shoots the ball, it hangs in the air so long. It reminds me of Andre Iguodala's shot. Bailey over to Avgusti. Dolu Johnson looking to go to work. Blocked by Radikash. James now. No look pass to Therion. Foul! And the bucket that time. Terry Upshaw wants to travel.
And for Simon Bailey, he just got caught in a bad situation there. He didn't know whether to stay with this man or go for the pass, but
on a decision like that, I would much rather let him get the layup than take a foul, than take a foul, like a silly foul, a soft foul, I should say. If you're going to foul him, you got to grab both arms, make sure he doesn't have a chance to make the bucket. That time, Therion completes the three-point play, and just like that, Joe, the lead is ballooned to 16 points. Gusti up to Johnson. They have some space, but there's James trailing. Baseline. Once again, they get in the half court, and TRC just turns into the best defensive team. James right up on Gusti. Nice cut that time. Up and under, couldn't get it to go. Hit the rim that time, it looked like. Now, I think Terry Upshaw has a point here. It did look like that hit the rim. Should not be a shot clock violation. The ref now on the court listening to this conversation from afar here. Ref seems like he admitted that it was his error here. And it's going to be TRC's ball. Or are they giving it back to Ridley here? Looks like they will stay Ridley's ball, but in the swing of momentum there, they got the offensive board. So,
And if you're Ridley, the biggest problem in this game so far is they've had good looks. They just haven't executed the finish of them. And on that play right there, it looked like they were going to get a nice basket, but again, they just couldn't finish. They have to figure out how to finish to get back into this game.
Going to stay with Ridley here. Having trouble getting open here. Gusti gets a decent look here, and he gets it to go. Johnny Gusti, they needed that one, their first field goal of the second quarter.
That was exactly what they needed, and that was a great way to get open on that off-ball screen for a wide-open three. Great
drawn-up play that time by Coach Upshaw. And BK down low, no foul. Keanu Heath gets the rebound that time. Here go Bailey to bring it up. They got to get it across half court here. I thought it's too much time to get across. Gusti now going to try his luck. Baseline, blocked again by Radikash. That's 2 in the first 2 minutes here of the second quarter, and it's going to go to TRC.
And right now, TRC, they're really not giving anything on the inside right now. It looks like they're forcing Ridley to take those outside shots, and they've struggled all year making them. This is a great game plan by TRC.
And Coach Kaye going to bring in his starters again. Monegro now, along with John on the wing. Jefferson loses the ball, nearly turns it over, and Therion, another two-handed flush. It's starting to get ugly here. Gusti. McMahon down low to Heath, looking to go to work in the post. Drop step. Can't get it to go, but he's going to head to the line for 2. And just a reminder, coming up next, tip-off at 7 o'clock, Rise Prep will host Southwest Academy. Of course, me and you saw Southwest last week against Central Tech. Put up a really good fight, of course, until about halfway through that fourth quarter when Central Tech took over. But if Southwest comes in playing anything like they did against Central Tech, we're going to have a good one on our hands.
It should definitely be exciting to see how they bounce back after that tough loss when they played so well for 3.5 quarters.
Tough 4 loss. They're coming in on a 4-game losing streak. You got to think that they're going to play with a little bit of desperation here, sitting at 4-7. Of course, if Ridley loses this game, they will go to 4-7. So it would be big for Southwest. They could jump Ridley in the standings with a win tonight.
There's definitely a ton of implications right now in the East Division. You know, we know Orangeville right now 9-0. They've been playing some of the best basketball, but after that, Lincoln Prep's been great. But again, it's a tough race, and we'll see how that seeding works as we head to the end of the season.
TRC trying to get back for the third time in a row and win the third championship in a row. Of course, an overhaul in the roster and a change of coaches this year, but still a very strong and formidable team that's not to be taken lightly. They got some real players here, a lot of talent, and Jeremy Kaye has shown that he's very capable of being a head coach this year. Monegro hits the second, 30-13 here, 70-33 to go in the first half. McMahon's going to take a seat. Bailey, guarded by John. Just tough to get a shot right now, and another turnover here by the Tigers.
And you can tell they want to attack inside, but there's no lanes for them to go in, and they're just forced to continue kick it out, and a sloppy pass there results in a turnover.
Nice pass inside to Grumbach. Can't get it to go on the cut that time, and if Gusti comes down with another board. Trying to go to work here. Nice pass inside. Afun gets it to go. Of course, TRC on the first night of a back-to-back tomorrow will be down in Etobicoke. Call Father Henry Carr versus TRC. That should be a great one. $15-point lead here for the Wolfpack. Sullivan Gay check back into the game now. John, nice drive that time. Right now, really is just having trouble getting across half court.
You can tell that everything's just a struggle for them right now. Everything is hard for them to get, and it's not going to get any easier if TRC continues to play this smothering defense all game.
See Gusti take a seat here. Johnson back into the game now for the Tigers.
And I think this is when it gets even more difficult for Ridley. We talk about how guys have to fill into the starting lineup, but now their depth is a little bit of a, you need to find replacement in your depth, and with Gusti off the bench, someone's going to have to figure out how to score on this team at an efficient rate.
Missed shot that time again. Tigers to take it out. Baseline. Tries to find Afun inside. Turned over again. Here comes Monegro. Going inside with a strong drive, and they're going to call a charge on Jefferson that time.
They had numbers for a bit, but credit to Ridley. They did get back in time, and they forced a shot that ended up into a charge.
Really, he's trying to, they got to get something going here in the half court. Once again, here comes a trap and almost turned over. Bailey forced himself into a shot that time. Will stay with the Tigers, but very low percentage shot that time, Joe.
And it's so difficult for them because they're starting, basically they're set with 13, 12 seconds on the shot clock with how much they have to push forward with this full court press. So they're going to have to figure something out here. It's hard to think about what they can do, but I think it's just going to have to come down to someone just playing great individual basketball.
Johnson, highly contested shot. Missed that time and off of Afun's hands. And back to TRC it goes. John to bring it up now for the Wolfpack. Grumbach, who had a good game against Orangeville last week. Started 4 for 4, 5 of 6 overall in the first half. Of course, Orangeville's suffocating defense just took over in that game. But all year, TRC and all their games have shown, win or loss, that they can compete with any team in this league. Diaz to Grumbach. Has to let it go. And John with the tip. Can't get it to fall in the bucket that time, but Bailey pushing it up. Bailey stripped that time by Sullivan Gann, and will stay with the Tigers.
And I was going to say that I think this might be a recipe for Ridley to kind of get back in it, to just push the pace, try to get in the fast break. But again, credit to TRC. They're getting back. They're playing great fast break defense even when those opportunities have come, which has been slim.
Afoon into Heath. Bailey going to try his luck from outside. Bailey short again. Bryant to bring it up now. Grumback has some space here. Thought he was going to shoot it. Takes the tougher shot that time. No luck, and here comes Bailey pushing up again. Simon tried to find Heath inside, and there's Celebengay again. And they're saying it went off Heath's knee. Didn't look like he touched it to me. .439 remaining in the first half. 32-15. TRC leads the Ridley Tigers. Diaz. Looks like they want to get Johnny down low in the post. John. Strong move inside, blocked that time. Here comes Johnny Avgusti. They have numbers. Avgusti going in strong on BK and draws the foul that time. They're going to call a block on Majabu and BK. And a timeout coming here for Jeremy Kaye and the Wolfpack. We'll take a quick break here. 4:15 remaining in the first half. Back here in Brantford at the Rice Center. Avgusti shoot a couple free throws here off on the first. And he's good on the second. And if there has been a bright spot this year for Ridley, it has been Johnny Avgusti in his emergence this year. Of course, averaging about 17 points per game. The leading scorer on this Ridley team. I'm going to call a travel on a BK that time. Joe, what does Ridley have to do here, ending the first half and going into the second half, to really try and cut into this lead and make a comeback?
Well, for Ridley, it's hard because whenever you want to get back into a game, I think it's always important to play team basketball. But at this point, I think there needs to be someone who makes that individual effort to get them back in this game. We think it could be Avgusti as he just rolls out. It just seems like they can't catch a break right now.
Very true. And TRC, got to give credit where credit's due. They've been playing really good defense here. TRC only scored 9 points in the first half, and so far they've only got 7 here.
And you can almost tell kind of around the end of that first quarter where they started playing that full court press, I think they realized that they can really take a jump on this game. It was really close because I think they were playing a little bit more lax when they realized they can really put their foot on the pedal and try to get this game as far as possible going into maybe the second half. That's when it really turned around for TRC.
Avgusti to bring it up now. Both teams have kind of gone cold here, coming down the wire at the end of the first half. Afoon. Back to Avgusti. See, I don't like this. Not a lot of movement here on Ridley's part on the offensive end. Into Heath, but they're going to call a foul. Keanu Heath to the line, and of course, Ridley made the trip down here from Niagara. Ridley College and, of course, Niagara Prep are the only teams in the OSBA representing that region down there. And you've lived out in Niagara for a few years, didn't you, Joe?
Yes, I did. It was a great time in my life.
Yes, I, in fact, grew up there myself. So it must be tough, though, to come down to make that drive down here and, you know, have a game like this where they're clearly being outplayed here. But obviously there's lots of time, but you got to think that should be a part of your motivation. You drive all this way, and you don't want to get embarrassed out here. So if I'm Terry Upshaw, I'm telling that to his team at halftime. You know, we made the drive here. You might as well play like you belong here.
And the reality is, it's a 16-point lead, and that's still a lot of points, but it's not an insurmountable amount. The problem is it doesn't feel like 16. It feels like 30 or 40 just with how good TRC's playing defensively. And this is the game they want to play. TRC lets their offense come naturally, let it come when it comes, but just play off your defense and you'll be okay. And that's how they've been winning all year.
And the thing that stood out for me calling TRC multiple times this year is how good their bench is. And they've really shown it tonight as well.
It didn't seem like there was much of a difference when that second unit came out for TRC.
I think Jeremy Caillet's being smart tonight with his rotations, giving his bench a lot of time because, of course, they know they're down in Toronto tomorrow in Etobicoke to face Father Henry Carr, which is going to be one of the best matchups of the year. On paper so far, that's what it's leading up to as James comes away with a steal. And BK again missed the flush, and they're going to call a foul. Scary looking play that time.
And one thing about TRC that we were talking about before the game, they're 6-4. They're 6-4, and they played well so far this year. But I think one of the things that they're looking for right now is that statement win. They played Orangeville twice. They played Bill Crothers. They didn't win any of those games, and they played well in them, but still they want that feeling of knowing they're playing a really good team and they can come out with that win. And FHC, they're one of those great teams so far this year. Exactly.
Like you just mentioned how, you know, they've played well in most of their games, and the thing is they have to finish. You know, they need to finish, and I think a big part of why they aren't is their lack of shooting from outside as well.
And that's one thing. That's one thing that we always talk about when we talk about those close games with Orangeville when they're playing those great teams. In that fourth quarter, they can just, you know, clamp down and play great championship level defense. For a team like TRC, that's going to be something they need to figure out. They're going to need to figure out how to play that championship level defense against those great teams.
And I think also a problem, you know, I just mentioned they got to close, but you look at this TRC team all up and down their lineup, and yes, Dawson John's great, and BK's great, Menego's great, but who is their closer? You know, who do they want the ball in their hand? I don't know personally still, and I think they're still trying to figure that out as the season winds down, but I think they have to figure that out because, you know, you got guys in Orangeville, like we mentioned, or in Bill Crothers, they got Kobe Elvis. You know the ball's going to be in his hands. Orangeville, you got M.A., you got Shamar. Of course, they're overly talented down there, but Father Henry Carr, they got Caleb Johnson, Ocampo, Josh Morgan, you know. I want to find out who's TRC's closer. And I think games like this is important.
And that's a part of the beauty of the regular season. Sometimes it's just about that preparation on what your team is going to look like in February and March. And even for Ridley right now, a lot of their guys are injured. This is an opportunity to kind of find out what those role players maybe on your bench are. A guy like Johnny can maybe score 19 points as maybe the second or third option or the first option, but can he maybe progress his game even more now on Ridley that he has to take on a higher load for his team? The regular season is always a great opportunity to really find out what your team can become as opposed to what it was at the beginning of the season.
Looks like they're going to call a technical foul here. It's like Keanu Heath doing a little bit too much jawing down at that end. And just fouls like that are just silly, especially down 14 here. Winding down. Yes, lots of time to go. We're only in the first half still. But can't afford fouls like that.
And with 2:30 left, if you're Ridley, you're down by 15. A couple good possessions in these next 2 minutes can completely change the complexion on how you look at this game. You go into halftime down 10, maybe 9 or 8. It's a completely different game going into the second half.
Find inside, foul coming up here, and they're going to head to the line as they're in the bonus. Both teams are. You said, cutting it down to 10, 10 or under will be huge, but there's one thing. They got to stop TRC first because they have not been able to do that so far.
And the last thing you want with TRC playing such great defense is to give them easy opportunities like at the free throw line. Even though he missed the first one, it's still eventually those free throws can cost you.
Foon comes down with the board here. 2:15 remaining in the first half. Dolu Johnson just hangs on to it. Pressured once again. Tough possession here. Just unable to get into their half court right now. TRC is doing a masterful job. Down low to a Foon, double coming again. You got to find the extra man. Travel by a Foon. You got to be smart there if you're a Foon to kick it right back out to Bailey.
And with that double team inside, that can tell you that TRC really has no respect for their three-point game right now. They're really forcing them to either take that shot outside or you're going to have to take a double inside the paint.
Like I said, they're giving it to him. But really hasn't proven that they're able to make these three-point shots or really anything outside the paint right now. BK down low to Therion. Great play run and finished off once again in the paint. Strong drive again. Missed. Foon with the offensive board. Heads to the line for two here.
And that was one of their cleanest progresses through to their half-court offense. They played quick, and even though they missed the first shot, they had a guy there to get the rebound, and now they'll get 2 free throws.
Gusti getting set to check back in here. D'Angelo Cortez of Foon, 6'8", guard, class of 2022. And BK Diaz, good find inside. Therion gets it to go again down low. Got to go up court here. They should have an open man. Johnson going baseline. Loses the ball. Foon goes to the line once again. Dawson John coming back into the game now. Off on the first that time by Foon, looking to go 1 for 2 here at the line. 1:06 remaining in the first half. And he gets to go. John now in BK, strong drive, and the foul. That is just too easy right now. Everything coming very easy for TRC.
And if you're Ridley, if you're going to play full court press and really try to force those looks, you need to be a lot. You need to stuff it a lot better. You can't kind of give them open lanes where they can throw it like that because they'll find the open man, and it's just going to either lead to a foul or an opportunity like this with an and one.
And BK finishes it off. 19-point lead here, winding down the first half. Ridley looking for answers here. And if Gusti going in strong, and it's just been that kind of night. Gonna call a jump ball here. Possession TRC. That's as clean of a look as Johnny has gotten all night.
And he makes that 9 times out of 10, right? It's just like you said. It's just sometimes it's one of those nights where things aren't clicking, and Ridley, they still have a half to go, but it's going to be extremely difficult for them to get back into this game if it progresses even slightly the way it did in this first half.
John, strong move. Foul that time. And a couple free shots coming here for Johnson.
And that's something I think in these past couple of minutes, I don't really like what I've seen from TRC. It seems like they're really kind of getting a little bit too antsy, a little too aggressive. They're giving opportunities for really to get free points, and I know it's going to be tough for them to come back, but those are one of the ways you can. If you can continue to get to the free throw line, put your team in foul trouble, that could be a recipe for maybe how Ridley can slowly get themselves back in this one.
Johnson off on the second that time. 35 seconds remaining in the first half. Diaz stolen. Strong move, no foul, tip in by Bailey that time. You like to see more hustle plays like that from Ridley. Diaz doubled. James able to get out. And BK now, again a strong drive, and BK has been tearing it up here as the second quarter winds down. Bailey, last 5 seconds. Bailey, too strong that time. James going to try again, from half court. And once again, it hits the top of the ceiling here. And boy, oh boy, 19-point lead here. TRC has just been masterful tonight so far on both ends of the floor. And we'll see if Ridley can perhaps get back into it in the second half. You're watching OSBA TV. Stick around. Back here for second half action in Brantford at the Rise Center. Anthony Gallo alongside Joe D'Agostino. And it has been all TRC so far, Joe. And any thoughts on the first half?
Well, right now, if you're Ridley, you need to figure something out on the perimeter because right now TRC is not respecting their three-point shot. And to get back in this game, I think what they need is at least to have that respect beyond the perimeter because then it can maybe open up the interior for Ridley. But right now, all credit where credit is due. This has been a fantastic game played by TRC on both sides of the basketball.
Kickball violation. Ridley gets a break that time. I'd like to see Johnny Avgusti step up here and be the leading scorer like he has been all year for Ridley. See, it makes me sad with this Ridley team because when we were down at Father Henry Carr a month and a half ago, you know, they looked really good. They really competed against Father Henry Carr, who's one of the better teams in the OSBA. And, of course, Alex Root going down with that injury. As you see here, Ridley going in for the jump shot. Welcome sight that time, but, you know, Ridley had a lot of potential to make some noise this year. And then, of course, injuries and amongst other things happen. And they find themselves right now trailing big time here and sort of what this second half of the season's been like so far.
And sometimes that happens in a regular season. You have expectations and you might even be playing well, but then an injury or two happens and your complete season can change and the complexity of how you look at it. But again, like I said, Ridley, I know that it looks like this game just kind of feels like it's over, but it's not. We still have a full 2 quarters to play, and all it takes is just a couple bounces that might go your way, and that doesn't look like it's one of them.
No, that bounce went right to Victor Radikash after it looked like he lost the ball. Gusti into McMahon. Good ball movement here. Bailey draws the foul. He's going to head to the line for 3, and Radikash is looking around at me. Is me? He's not sure, but the foul is on you, Victor, and Simon Bailey's going to head to the line for 3.
And those 3 shots, he'll take it. But those were one of those shots that I was mentioning kind of at the beginning where you have to start making those because if you start making those, they're going to play a little bit more close, a little bit more tight with you on the perimeter. And this entire season, Ridley, how they've won games is playing well by scoring inside the paint. Both of these teams aren't really great three-point shooting teams, so if you can at least make it feel like you can take those shots and you can make those shots, it can open up your offense a ton more.
See, the thing is, Terry's system works, you know, but the thing is they also had Jaden Bediako down there the past couple of years. Last year, Defensive Player of the Year, and as a force inside, a walking double-double last year, and of course, Noah Warden. It's just different players, I believe. It's the lack of talent on Ridley this year, and it's on display right now as they're down 15 to TRC. Still lots of time, but there's definitely no secret in the overhaul that's been going on with Ridley College so far this year. With Gusti gets it to go. Cheeky layup that time with the backhand.
And it kind of feels a little different right now, Anthony. A 13-point game, a couple possessions in a row.
Here we
You're
go.
playing strong defense.
Turnover again. McMahon. Nice pass fake. Can't get it to go off glass with the left-handed shot. And a foul here on Simon Bailey.
And I think that's one thing, honestly, we've kind of overlooked in this game. The ability to translate defense into offense for Ridley could be the factor that can get them back in this game.
Starting to hear the Ridley crowd get a little live here as Jeremy Kaye is forced to take a timeout here. They've cut the lead down to 13. He's 19 at one point here, so maybe they heard us talking about maybe they heard us talking and getting down on them, and they're like, no. They took exception to it, so we'll see as the game goes on here. But 46-33, lots of time to go, and Joe, you said it. Turn defense into offense here, and they got to continue to do it, but easier said than done against this Wolfpack team.
Absolutely easier said than done, but it's felt like a completely different game in the last minute and 50 or a minute and 40 in the second or in this third quarter, I should say. And right now, if you're Ridley, you have to just continue to push. You have to continue to play well, play strong, play aggressive on the defensive side. Try to create some turnovers that can lead to easy baskets, because that was the thing in that first half. It just felt like nothing was coming easy for Ridley. Everything felt like a struggle. Just getting to half court felt like a struggle. And maybe TRC got a little too comfortable at the start of this third quarter. We'll see how they come out of this timeout. They've been playing really well, which means that's a sign of great coaching. And I think that they're going to play a little bit better coming out of this timeout. But again, right now the momentum's in Ridley's hands, and they have an opportunity to maybe get this into single digits.
Interesting to see how they respond here. Diaz to bring it up for TRC. John looking to stop momentum here. And Keanu Heath comes down with a big rebound. Ridley starting to push the pace. Bailey to Gusti for three. In and out. That would have been a huge swing. Dawson John with the break. Nearly losing it, and BK finishes it off. Back up to 15 now for TRC. Stolen! And BK, again a strong drive, and the foul!
And just like that.
Yeah, we were just talking about a really sign of life here, and TRC right out of the timeout come back with a couple steals and a couple finishes on the end of Ridley.
And it just took a couple bounces that went TRC's way. Gusti had a good look in the corner. He couldn't make it. They're a little slow on the transition. He's able to get back, but he ends up still leading to a basket, and then a careless turnover leads to an and one opportunity. It's just the room for error is slim for Ridley right now.
Trapped. McMahon with a nice look here from mid-range. No good. Heath looking to go to work on the offensive glass. Bothered by Theory on that time. Jump ball, and it should be Ridley's possession. So they're going to call a technical on Terry Upshaw here, but he's got a point. The last jump ball it was TRC's possession. This should be Ridley's possession, Joe.
It did look like it should go to Ridley, and obviously Coach Terry Upshaw, he's not happy with it, and it's going to lead to
I don't like that call at all, Joe.
And it's one of those calls that at the end of the day, it doesn't look on the scoreboard like it could be costly, but when a team is trying to get back in it, this is one of those situations that can really kind of lower the morale and kind of make you feel like you're in a hole that's even bigger than it already is.
You're right. You know what? I'm tired of giving these refs excuses, though. That was a bad call. You should pay attention to what, especially possession on jump balls. That could be a difference. Obviously, the lead is a lot more than, it's obviously not insurmountable, but a jump ball in any game could be a difference maker. And BK gets another two-hand flush here, and he's talking to him, and that should be a technical foul, and it will be on BK here, talking a lot to Keanu Heath, but this has been a wild game.
It has been a wild game.
In all the ways you don't like it to be a wild game. Ref's talking it over here. And if Gusti's going to take the technical foul shot here, gets it to go. And now BK should get his and one shot here, but I believe it will be possession Ridley after this. And he misses the extra point there. Gusti, good ball movement here by Ridley. Heath barely keeps it in, and stolen again. Monegro to push it up. And a foul on the floor.
And on that possession you mentioned, it was great ball movement, but sometimes in that situation where if Gusti has the ball and he has some space behind the line, that's one of those situations where you want him to grow into that player that has the confidence to make that shot in that situation, because we know that really needs someone to step up right now, and we're looking like it's going to be him.
And Joe, they're down 20 points right now as Diaz misses the long-range shot that time. And BK comes out with a strong rebound. Nice find at Therion, can't finish. And back comes Ridley, but at this point, down 20, there's no playing it safe anymore, Joe. You got to take chances.
You have to take chances, and not only just take chances, you have to start building some confidence just in yourself, believing that you can make these shots, that you can make sure that you can make them pay for giving you those looks. And for Ridley, they cut it to 13, and then again TRC went on their own little run. So they've shown glimpses in this third quarter that they can make a little run and play strong defense, but it's going to have to be sustained success if they want to get back in it.
That was a well-run play that time out of the inbounds as McMahon finished it off under the basket. BK finds John, gets it to go on the acrobatic layup. John's been a little quiet tonight, but they haven't needed his services so far. Ridley, nice find to Heath, gets him up in the air and draws the foul. Good patience that time by Keanu Heath. Great
patience, and we talked about how getting to the free throw line can be one of those ways to get back in this game. We know that it's going to take more than just free throws, but I like the fact that they are attacking the paint, and when they have a look right in front of the basket, you have to take it, and that's what they did there.
John. Bounce pass, nice tap pass to him. BK can't finish it off. Diaz comes down with the offensive board. Nice hustle play that time by Evgusti. Ridley pushing the pace again. Tough drive, but draws the foul, and Monegro doesn't agree with that one. One of two at the line that time. Monegro nearly lost the ball out of bounds in the backcourt. No offensive foul there. Darion looking to go up. I call 3 seconds in the key that time. Bailey. Here comes Ridley College. McMahon. Tough shot that time, but gets it to go. Stolen by McMahon, but it's just been that kind of night. Bounces off the Ridley player. Back to TRC and a blocking foul.
And I think you said it perfectly there. An opportunity to steal and just another unfortunate bounce for Ridley. It's been a tough night for them. But to their credit, they've still been playing strong. They've still been playing tough. It doesn't feel like they're playing a dejected game right now. It seems like they're still trying to give everything they have to get back in this game. It's just sometimes it feels insurmountable because right now TRC is just playing better basketball.
John for three. Short that time, but Grumback flying in for the rebound. Down low to Rolak. Pushing foul that time on Heath. Both teams now 4 fouls apiece already. The refs calling this one tight tonight so far.
Yeah, it didn't seem like there was too much there, but again, some contact on the back, and like you said, they've been playing it tight almost this entire game, and both teams have to start to be careful because they will be in the bonus soon.
And Terry Upshaw really clearing out his bench here. Diaz inside to James. Grumback, one step in for the mid-range shot. Unable to get it to go, and back comes Ridley. Foon trying to go to work here. Great defense that time by Vrolak again. Off the Ridley player. McDonald now guarding the inbounder, Diaz. John. Grum back to Diaz. Has some space here. Should be a charging call. They're going to call a block here. McDonald, his feet weren't set. .57-39, under 5 minutes to go now here in the third. Theodore. Here's McDonald. Afun, bounce pass stolen again here. Grum back for three. Off the mark. Dolu Johnson now to bring it up for the Tigers. To McDonald, floater. Too strong that time. And a silly foul, and they're going to head to the line for two.
And that was a nice pass there by Ridley College to kind of get a good look. They just couldn't finish there. That was, like you said, Adam McDonald, and then a silly foul to give them two more opportunities at the free throw line. That's gonna really hurt your chances if you want to fight your way back out of this this big deficit.
Grumback coming into this game, averaging 9 points per game. McMahon to inbound now. He hits another free throw, 60-39. It has been all TRC so far in this game. Theodore to McMahon. Man, mid-range shot again, misses. Afun keeps it in, tries to go into the rim, blocked again. John going to work. Strong drive, and almost gets it to go.
And you said a little earlier, he's had kind of a quiet game, but they haven't really needed a huge performance from him tonight. And I think we had to start wondering, with the deficit that it is, with that game tomorrow, and it's an early start, 3:45, we have to wonder maybe how much longer those starters are going to play, and maybe how much more they're going to do some of that full press where you know they're going to be exerting way more than they would if they played more of a standard half set. Yeah,
that's a good point. Tomorrow is going to be a really tough matchup for TRC, of course, going against the 7-2 Father Henry Carr. We don't have the final score on the game that they're playing right now currently, but regardless, they're going to have to go up against the second leading scorer in the OSBA, and Caleb Johnson, and that Father Henry Carr team as McMahon gets it to go off glass. And a timeout coming here, and we do have final score. Father Henry Carr defeats AI Red tonight. Sorry about that. Athlete Institute Red. They got a strong victory tonight. And Caleb Johnson again continuing to score a lot of points. Puts up 23. And it'd be interesting to see tomorrow how they handle this TRC defense and the length that they bring.
FHC, I feel like, is one of the more intriguing teams this year because they haven't played as much. They're only 8-2 now, and I think all the attention right now with Bill Crothers and Central Tech ahead of them by so many games, but they all only have 2 losses. It's going to be interesting kind of in that final stretch, and I think FHC, they've proven so far in the games played that they are going to be a force as this season continues.
Yeah, and tonight, a big game for Rise Prep. You know, you got to keep up because they have 7 wins right now. Thornley starting to make a little bit of noise in that division. Of course, you can never count out Crestwood coming back, of course, led by Elijah Fisher and Trey Thompson down there. But this division's tough. The East Division is really the cream of the crop this year, it seems. Like, of course, you got Orangeville in the West as well with Lincoln Prep and TRC, but it's wide open there in the Eastern Division. Yes, you have Central Tech 2 games up on Bill Crothers, but you got to remember Crothers is the only team, is one of the only 2 teams to beat Central Tech this year.
Yeah, it's gonna be really tight. It's gonna be really close in that East because it does feel like a 3-headed monster with kind of Rise Prep just sneakily behind them, still playing well. I'm going to be excited to see them play tonight against Southwest right after this game.
I think those top 3 teams in the East Division can all beat each other, and that's what's interesting. And all of them, well, Crothers and Central Tech at least have shown that they can really compete with Orangeville as well, and almost came up on top. So definitely interesting to see in the East Division as well, and Rise Prep could go a long way with the win tonight.
And what a great opportunity, like we were talking about earlier, for TRC to go to FHC and maybe get a huge win to really kind of boost that second half of the season.
Grumback makes a 3 that time. Augusti for 3. Gets it to go. Stolen nearly. If Gusti comes away with it. Maybe a travel that time. Got away with it. McMahon with a soft touch. Unable to finish. James, long pass to him. BK, who gets up to the rim again and is still talking. Stolen by BK. To James. And is going to head to the line for 2, and it has been total dominance here for TRC.
And I think for BK, I think we kind of are starting to see why he's talking a lot. He has been an absolute game wrecker so far in this third quarter, and he's proven all season long that he's one of those cogs that makes TRC so good.
James off on the first. 2:10 remaining in the third quarter here. Good on the second that time by James. 70-43. McMahon. Strong drive, and Heath blocked by Grumback. James. To BK, getting a little fancy here. James for 3. Missed. And BK, strong rebound, can't hang on to it. Augusti going to pull up for 3, gets it to go.
And that's a shot that he needs to start making consistently throughout this season now. The pressure is going to be on him to really carry this team, and if he can continue to start hitting that 3, it's going to open up for a lot of his. It's going to open a lot of the court for his teammates.
James into Sullivan Gay, a little too strong that time. It's going to go back to Ridley. McMahon, Euro stab, tough drive. He's going to go to the line for 2.
And they're going to go to the free throw line there, but I think if you are Ridley, you need to start kind of finding those guys on the perimeter, because when you're driving in, so much is just going right to you, and they've had a lot of blocks on the inside, and that's because TRC's been so disciplined. They aren't really jumping and taking a lot of silly fouls inside the paint, but if you can start kicking it out and hitting those 3s, I keep harping on it, and it just feels like that's going to be one of those things that can change their season for them moving forward. If they can play a little bit more inside 2 out, I think that can really fix a lot of their problems.
But right now, Ridley does have a lot of problems.
They definitely have a lot of problems, and it feels like it's from stuff that they couldn't really control through injuries, and unfortunately for them, they're going to have to figure this out as the season progresses, and that might go through a ton of growing pains. And some of those growing pains can be a score like this.
And we were talking during halftime and how only a few years can change things, Joe. 2 years ago, this Ridley team led by Terry Upshaw and company went all the way to the finals, where they did eventually lose to this TRC team, but just by 2 points. They had a good chance to win that game and ultimately become OSBA champions, as Grumbach commits a foul that time. 3 shots coming up here for Ridley, and then last year losing to TRC as well in the quarterfinal. I know it's always been against TRC, but this Ridley team has been great the past couple of years, and for this year to take a dip, sometimes it happens.
Sometimes it happens, and you mentioned kind of both teams went through an overhaul in this last season, and there's a ton of history between these two teams. And even though, like you said, there was an overhaul and change in the roster and coaching for TRC, it's just that there's always going to be that history there between these two teams. And like you said, a lot can change in 2 years. And unfortunately for Ridley, I don't think Ridley was in a bad situation at the start of the season. It's just that's the way things are kind of turning out right now, where it's gonna take great coaching, which they have, and it's gonna take a lot of growth from these players.
And in more than recent years, I would say this year there's been, as Johnny Avgusti comes away with the clean steal here, and he finishes it off glass. But in more than recent years, it seems like there's a lot more parity in the league this year. We just talked about the top 3 teams in the East Division, and those are great teams. You still have Orangeville in the other division. You still have Lincoln Prep, TRC, and of course Rise Prep coming up. And we mentioned Thornley starting to make a push along with Crestwood. This league is wide open this year. And, Orangeville is obviously the favorite, but they've shown chinks in their armor so far. Yes, they're 9-0 and arguably could go to 10-0 tonight against Lincoln Prep tonight in Hamilton. But, I believe Central Tech, Bill Crothers, Father Henry Carr all have a chance to beat Orangeville, along with TRC.
And all it takes is one. All it takes is one team to catch a team off, and it can be anyone's ball game in the tournament.
Especially in the Final 8 with the OSBA, it's 1-game elimination, right? So it's not a 7-game series. You catch a team off. It happened last year. Thornley against Orangeville in the conference finals. Thornley caught Orangeville. They beat them. They were the only team to beat Orangeville in the regular season as well, giving them their only loss, gave them their only 2 losses of the year. So Orangeville seemed like such a powerhouse last year, like they do every year, as if Gusti misses that one. But like you said, any team could be caught here. 70-50, end of the third quarter. Still got 10 minutes to go in this game. We'll be right back. You're watching OSBA TV. Welcome back to this blowout. Some would say TRC up by 20 right now against Ridley College. Lots of time to go, but TRC has shown great perseverance here as Johnny Avgusti gets a very clean look, maybe the most open shot he's got all day, other than his missed layup there.
They've really had a lot of clean looks behind the arc all game, and Avgusti started to hit those near the end of that third quarter, and he starts the fourth with another clean look and another good shot.
And Sullivan Gay draws the foul on the pick and roll that time, cut into the basket. Off the mark that time. And BK with another strong offensive board. Diaz, all the time in the world, and misses everything that time. Bailey, foul. McMahon back out to Bailey. He's going to try his luck. Gets it to go off glass that time. Timeout coming here. Jeremy Caillé wants to talk it over. We're going to take a quick break here ourselves. Welcome back. You're watching OSBA TV. And BK with the ball up top. Here's Grumback. Bennett Grumback. Nearly stolen. Got to get it off here. And Therion draws the foul, and Keanu Heath's going to pick up another one. And Therion gets both to go. Heath, nice pass inside and blocked, but another foul on him, BK. Southwest and Rise Prep fans starting to make their way into the facility now. And of course, we got a great game after this, Joe. Rise Prep versus Southwest. Had the chance to watch Southwest against Central Tech last week. I think we were both very impressed from what we saw from them from about 3 quarters and some change last game. Looked like they could compete with the best team in the Eastern Division. And, of course, Central Tech just took over in the end. But I think they have a very winnable game tonight.
Absolutely, especially if they play even half as good as they did against Central Tech. They'll have a shot tonight.
But, you know, Rise Prep is definitely not a team to sleep on. 2 games over 500 right now as Therion has been a problem all night for Ridley College. And I think Rise Prep definitely has some great players on their team, including Mason Krause, Trent Johnson. Just an overall great team.
It definitely feels like two teams that are kind of on opposite ends of momentum, but with that being said, when you're kind of on both of those ends, it feels like you have just as much to play for going into the game. So even though Southwest is riding a 4-game losing streak, and for Rise, they're on a 2-game winning streak, and the records are separated by 3 or 4 games now, I still think that both teams have just as much a shot to win that game tonight.
And I think it's very interesting with both teams at the Rise Center. Of course, you have Rise Prep and TRC Academy. You know, TRC has been the better team over the past couple of years, obviously 2 championship banners. But, you know, I think this year Rise Prep has a little bit of a chip on the shoulder. They want to prove that they are the best team in this facility. Yes, it's all a brotherhood here. They all love each other. It's sort of like what it's like at Athlete Institute with AI Red, AI Black, and Orangeville. You know, they all love each other. They're all brotherhood. But I think there's a little bit of a chip on the shoulder. I think they want to be the better team, especially Rise, losing to TRC in the first round of the Final 8 last year in the OSBA playoffs. So I think Rise has done a great job so far this year. And tonight they can improve and go 3 games over 500 if they come out with the victory.
And with the way that their division's played all year, if they want that thought to be sent out with everyone else, they're going to have to earn it. And one of those games that they have to earn it is going to be tonight against Southwest.
100%. Here's Monegro. No good that time. Dolu Johnson. Avgusti going to pull up again. Johnny Avgusti. 16-point lead now. And the only meeting that TRC and Rise Prep are going to have is on February 19th, of course, right here at the Rise Center. There really will be no away team for that game, but, you know, they only play each other once, of course, being in different divisions. That's definitely going to be a matchup to see if coming down to the end of the year, both teams could both be in the hunt for playoffs. So I think both teams will be in the playoffs, but seeding definitely matters in the Final 8, especially when you have play-ins.
And with the way things are kind of shaping out, they might be the 2 teams that play against each other in the play-ins. So it'll be interesting.
Just like last year, rematch. And last year, scary sight, just reminiscing on that time. Of course, Sabri Phillip went down with that horrific injury last year in the first game against Rise Prep. He's obviously made a full recovery. We'll be playing at San Diego State coming up. But, you know, the Rise Center, this OSBA, produces great talent that a lot of them go on to the next level of academics, into the D1, D2, D3, Canadian University ball. It's definitely the best league in the country, hands down.
And you can just tell by just walking into this facility that they truly kind of give these athletes their best opportunity to succeed. This was the first time I stepped into this facility, and I was in shock on how amazing it really is, and the talent in these student athletes that really have an opportunity to play for either TRC or Rise. They're given a ton of benefits from playing here.
But you know what, Joe? I think the next time we come here, I think we got to figure out how to get some of that free food that these players have.
Yeah, I know.
We went out into the lobby and it smelled so good. And, you know, I don't want to be the one to ask for food, but, you know, hey, the commentators need to eat too. John to inbound here. TRC with some of the starters still out on the floor here. John and Monegro still out there. Nice find to Diaz, but the foul, they're going to call travel. Nice pass inside to McMahon. Good patience that time. 14-point lead now, Joe.
They're scratching and clawing to get back in this one right now.
James to John for 3. James in the offensive glass gets it to go. Bit of a momentum stopper there. Ridley again. McMahon, foot on the line, gets it to go. 2-point shot. James. Diaz. Ridley's defense has picked up here in the last couple minutes. 6:04 to go, 78-64. Ridley's got a little bit of life here. And Jeremy Kaye wants to talk it over. Very animated and frustrated with this team. We're going to take an opportunity to take a timeout ourselves here. You're watching OSBA TV. Welcome back. Fourth quarter action here. Ridley College with a little bit of life behind them now, Joe. Gone on a bit of a run here, 78-64. Augusti looking to pull up again. If that went in, this building wouldn't have went crazy. Diaz pushing it up. Good job by Dolu Johnson. And this lineup right now for Ridley has been working. Not the tallest lineup, but they've been going. Interesting to see if Jeremy Kaye puts in more of a threat down low, because both teams playing small ball right now. Monegro met by the double. John. Ridley has gone to the zone and it has worked. Nice job again by Ridley to get in the passing lanes here. Nothing coming easy for this Wolfpack team.
They're using active hands right now, getting in, like you said, involved in those passing lanes, and it's caused a couple miscues for TRC.
Kickball violation, but that could be costly because now instead of the shot clock being at 5, it resets to 14 here, so TRC with another possession. John to Diaz, shot fake. John loses the ball, silly turnover. And Ridley, every possession counts now on the offensive end. Marco Tullio. Gabriel Marco Tullio now guarded by Diaz. Nearly stolen. Kept. Dolu Johnson to McMahon. Extra pass. Inside. Blocked by John. John with the rejection. And PK. Charging call. Back the other way.
Great play by putting your body on the line for the sake of the team, getting that turnover. We were talking earlier how some of these teams that are like Bill Crothers or Central Tech, you have to learn to get that championship defense in those closing moments. TRC, if they want to belong with that those top level teams in this league, then this is one of those situations. You're up 14, close this game with 5 minutes left, play the defense that you've been playing all game long.
You can't take any teams lightly. Augusti for 3, gets it to go! 11-point game here. A stop and a possession, they have a chance. Gauntlet James. Diaz. James, strong drive. Can't get it to go on the floater. And really with a chance to cut it within single digits now. Augusti for 3. Can't get it to go. alley-oop, too strong that time.
Just sloppy play by TRC right now.
And Jeremy Kaye again. Sorry, no timeout here, just a substitution. Jeremy Kaye very animated on the sideline right now. Not happy with the squad here after being up by nearly 30 at one point, Joe.
Everything just feels a little shaky with TRC right now. Whether it's them playing this full court press, they're letting things get a little bit easier down the court.
And this has been a problem with TRC all year in the games that they've lost, of course, as McMahon in and out.
But they're giving them these looks right now for Ridley, and they've been hitting most of them in this fourth quarter.
Monegro now to slow it down. Time is not on Ridley's side here. Monegro, extra pass to John for three. In and out of Gusti. I don't want to see another quick shot here if I'm Terry Upshaw. Gusti, extra pass for three. They get it to go. Marco Tullio, 8-point game. All of a sudden, Ridley has life here, Joe. Double coming. This zone defense has worked. James to Monegro. Shot clock to 3, 2. They gotta let it go. James can't get it to go. And McMahon with a strong rebound here. 8-point game coming up on 3 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Of Gusti, strong drive, no good. Little bit of a deflating play that time for Ridley. Monegro. James to John. Dawson John now with the ball. Euro step, he's gonna go. Foul. James pleading for a foul here as he fell to the ground and might want to keep his composure here.
And I was about to say that this is a situation where you could be frustrated, but you can't show it. You got to just get up and continue to play because you can't let your team play in a 4-on-5. It ended up working out somewhat for TRC with the foul, but I think he was complaining maybe a little bit about maybe the floor was a little too wet.
And James is going to take a seat now. And John with a chance.
Big free throws coming up here.
Big free throw here. And he makes 2 clutch free throws there, Dawson John. And Terry Upshaw wants to talk it over. We're going to take a break here, perhaps our last break of the evening. You want to stick around. Ridley starting to gain momentum. .237 remaining in this game. And Joe, we were talking during the break. Ridley has been having, you got to commend them for the comeback here, but it might be just a little too late here. They got to get a basket on almost every possession here. Down 10. Nice find. Johnson misses the easy lip, and they get it on the offensive glass.
Big recovery there on that second chance opportunity. They needed that basket, especially with how easy that first one was.
They need a stop here. Monegro to John, leading scorer, Diaz, cutting in, stolen! McMahon, cut off, goes baseline, banks it in! 6-point game. Dawson John. Here's Monegro. Monegro going in strong, blocked! And, oh, a foul on the play, and it looked like Ridley would have had an open layup on the other end. Wow, Therion gonna head to the line now. Tough play that time.
It's a late whistle as well.
Late whistle. Well put, Joe. Therion misses the first.
Part of those situations where you want to close teams out, he's got to make those free throws in crunch situations. And
he hits the second. You see Brian Sullivan-Gay check in for TRC. Gusti to bring it up now for Ridley. Met by the double. Foul, and they're in the bonus now. And the clock stops, Joe, with 91 seconds remaining in the game.
And in this situation where they went 1 for 2 on the other end, if they can hit both these free throws, you basically just got a +1 in these 2 possessions. That could be huge for Ridley.
Adam McDonald checking in, but a scary sight here for Ridley. Look at the guys down low to rebound. There's clearly a size difference down low here.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they're really playing for the rebound here. I think they're maybe playing for a little bit of speed.
Especially with Keanu Heath sitting down right now. Misses the second. And they're going to call it TRC's ball. 6-point game, 91 seconds remaining. If I'm TRC, you get it right down to Brian Sullivan-Gay down low.
If they can get it there.
Trapped. The shot clock is not going down. The shot clock did not start. All the way at that end, the shot clock was not starting. I just don't think that should be able to happen. Now the shot clock is reset down to 15 seconds here, and refs are going to talk it over. 1:19 remaining. Bit of a deflating moment here in what's been an entertaining fourth quarter.
And it didn't look who this stop clockage really kind of had an advantage for, because for Ridley it looked like they had the contain early and it could have cost them, but then it looked like TRC might have had an easy basket as well. So a confusing situation. Hopefully they can get it fixed as quick as possible, because you don't want for both teams to start kind of just sitting and waiting for the final 120 to start over.
I think they're deciding between 15 and 17 seconds here. And it looks like they're going to decide on. A lot of stoppages in this game here with 1:19 to go. Scheduled tip-off for Rise Prep versus Southwest Academy. It was supposed to be right now, actually, 7 o'clock. That game will be pushed back a little bit here due to the stoppages here in this first game. 81-75. It has not been it has not been like this for most of the game, Joe.
No, it hasn't.
Dawson John to inbound here. Refs finally got things under control. Shot clock at 15. Let's hope everything is all sorted out for the rest of this minute 19. Diaz up top to Monegro. John going baseline, cut off that time. And BK, strong drive, misses. And McMahon with a strong rebound. They got to push the ball now. Coming up on a minute to play. Shot for three. In and out that time. If I'm TRC, you got to slow it down. John, push that time. Thought he might have stepped out of bounds. But a couple free throws coming here. And these two could be the dagger right here, Joe.
And I really didn't like that possession by Ridley on that play. It wasn't a bad look, but with the fact that it wasn't a great look, you kind of force yourself, even if they didn't have to take 2 free throws now you're really pushing yourself to the point where you have to start only going for the 3. I think if they went for the 2 there, try to get a better, safer look, it could have really kind of put them in a better spot in these closing 47 seconds.
And he's good on both that time. Timeout coming here for Terry Upshaw and the Tigers. 8-point game. Joe, they might not come out on top, but what did you see from Ridley here in this fourth quarter to, have a little bit of hope going forward throughout the season despite the injuries?
I think the reality of this game was the first half, they couldn't make a 3. In the third quarter, they couldn't make a 3. But in the fourth quarter, they finally were able to kind of hit that perimeter look. And this is a tough game to really kind of glance and really get a perspective of what your season's going to be. So many shifts in momentum, especially in this final fourth quarter. But the fact that your team didn't quit and they continued to play hard, and they're in a situation with when there was a minute and 10 seconds left, you're down by 2 possessions. You can't hate that. And hopefully for them, when they get more acclimated with the new roster in the sense of who's playing with who and for how many durations of minutes you're actually getting, I think this is a good game to look at and say, I think we're going to be fine moving forward.
Exactly. You got to commend Ridley for their comeback, but I think this is more about TRC. This has happened multiple times already this season where they just can't close out a team comfortably in the fourth, or vice versa. They have a chance. It's like last week against Orangeville. They were down by under 10, and they just fell apart in that game, ultimately losing by 18 points to Orangeville. But they played with them all for about 3 quarters and some change. So I think for TRC, they got to really figure out as playoffs approach who their closer is.
Not just playoffs, tomorrow.
Tomorrow against Father. Exactly. This is a scary sight for TRC, especially Father Henry Carr coming off a blowout win against Athlete Institute Red.
But if they can close this game out and get a win tomorrow, all this talk, it's going to be completely silenced.
Yep, and they would move to 8-4 on the year. And if Lincoln Prep loses tonight, they could jump them in the standings potentially if they beat Father Henry Carr tomorrow. Missed shot that time. And still pressure in the backcourt here. John gets it over half court. Monegro. Terry Upshaw saying don't foul. Diaz for 3. In and out. 23 seconds remaining. And a foul that time, but 2 free throws coming here.
And I don't like that foul. There's no reason to really do it. Just let him take the shot, and you take what you can take. This is just keeping this game prolonged and keeping them in it for really no reason.
I would say, Joe, throughout this year, I think this is easily the longest game I've called. I know you've just, this is your 3rd OSBA game, I want to say.
Yes, it is.
3rd, coming up on
3rd
4th
game.
after this. Hey, man, some games are like this, but I don't know if I've been a part of a 2 hours almost, 2.5 hours almost.
It definitely feels like the refs were not afraid to blow the whistle tonight.
The refs definitely weren't shy about it.
And I also think even with so much opportunities where Ridley kind of was closing in, it felt like both teams were using their timeouts a ton this game. So a little bit longer than usual, but it's a 6-point game with 20 seconds left.
And BK, you think that they're going to foul here, and they do.
Hey, you never know. They don't make either free throw. The game is still alive, but
there's been a lot of what ifs in this fourth quarter. And Terry Upshaw going to take one more timeout here with 15.5 seconds remaining. This game has been prolonged to the max, Joe.
And I think in a situation like this where you're calling the timeout, I don't think it's more about here's how we can get back in this game, but more about talking to your team about what you did tonight and how you performed and how you played in this fourth quarter. If you're Ridley, you have to be somewhat happy with how you ended up coming back in this fourth quarter. And even though it looks like it's now out of reach, this is a game that you can move on from feeling pretty comfortable about.
You could definitely
what your team is.
Exactly. You could take this fourth quarter into the next game and have a lot of pluses in this. And, you know, there's a lot of things you can improve on, obviously, but, you know, they did a good job. I think Ridley's problem is that they play too conservative at start of games. They got to really just, you know, the way they played in this fourth quarter seemed like they were a little bit more loose, a little bit more into the flow of the game. I think they have to do a better job of really getting into their flow and not always playing at the opponent's team's pace.
Especially if Gusti. We were talking in the first quarter how his first shot of the game was around 2 minutes left in the first. He's too important to their team, especially scoring, to get that deep into the game without really having your handle on it.
3-point shot here, off the mark that time. We'll stay with Ridley College here with 8.3 seconds remaining.
And both Rise and Southwest, they're waiting for this game to start. If you're Southwest Academy, you have to be happy right now because now if both teams are 4-7, you have an opportunity to jump Ridley College in the standings and get the win tonight.
Gusti up top. He's got to let it fly. McMahon for three. No good, and that should do it. Another foul here. That'll be 2 more shots for TRC.
It's just one of those games.
If he makes one of these shots, it is pretty much impossible to come back with 1.9 seconds remaining. So you need at least 0.4 to get a shot off. No good that time. And that'll do it here at the Rise Center for game 1 of 2 of our doubleheader. TRC comes away with a victory, but it definitely wasn't as easy as we thought it was going to be about at halftime here tonight. It was a pretty sizable lead, but Ridley came up and came back 85-77. Stick around for the second game of our doubleheader.